Great. So welcome everybody to this live drop-in session where we're going to be talking about everything about Europe and traveling with food allergies. Um, really appreciate you joining today. If you do have any technical issues, feel free to put it in the chat. Hopefully you can see my screen okay and all is well. My name is Kyle Dine, and I'm really happy to be with you. We're going to try to do this in under an hour, try to get to all of the questions you might have. No question is too big or too small. If it's too big, we're going to find a resource for you. If it's too small, I usually think if one person is thinking it, there's usually a lot more thinking the same thing. So please, there's no question too small. I'd love to hear them all. With the main goals today is provide some basic info, the guidelines, some of the laws in Europe, specifically the European Union countries. I'm going to share some firsthand experiences and knowledge just based on my travels, offer some support, not only for myself, but I would love for you to get involved too. If you've gone to some places, if you have some tips, put them in the chat, unmute yourself. I think that's the beauty of our community, is that we're all really helpful to each other. I'm going to try to connect you with some helpful resources and services that are out there that maybe you knew of, maybe you don't. So you keep an eye on the chat. One thing to know, I am not a doctor, I wish. So there's no medical info that will be provided today. I am a person with food allergies, first and foremost. I have multiple food allergies to peanuts, tree nuts, egg, seafood, and mustard. Mustard being the one that keeps on increasing somehow. Peanuts and tree nuts, I can confirm they are still very severe. Egg, it looks like it's on the way out, and I need some more testing with seafood as always. I'm very lucky to wear the hat of being an co-admin for the Allergy Travels group, along with Ali Bon. I'll share a little bit more of that in a second. Talk about Equally, it's my company. I'm from Canada originally, and I call Slovenia, though, my home base. That's where I am most of the year with my family. Married a Slovenian, and here I am. So beautiful little country in former Yugoslavia. Karina, would you mind just like putting on your camera and saying hi so people know who they're chatting with? Sorry to put you on the spot, but Karina deals with allergies at home too. And
hi everyone, I'm Karina. I'm the manager at Equally. I'm the marketing manager at Equally. It's lovely that so many have joined today, and I'm helping Kyle with putting some information into the chat. So it's great to see you all here. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks so much, Karina. Really appreciate your help today. So she will be your point of contact over chat. If you have any questions, she'll be the one that's going to be sending you links, and very well versed in that. Equally is the company that I manage, I founded, and that Karina's working with me on. And we're really privileged and happy to have helped over 50,000 people in our community now get dietary translation cards. We essentially allergy cards in different languages, 52 languages now, which is pretty wild. Effective, durable plastic cards, just like the one I have here. What is this? This is in Slovenian for tree nut and tree nut allergy. We have an app as well in iOS and Android, but most importantly, it's pro translations. We hire the best. We hire then expert proofreaders, and then we get native speakers to review all of the translations. And that's really important to make sure it talks the talk. So we do not use Google Translate or any type of AI to do our translations at all. We really use humans to make sure that it speaks the speak. For our cards, we use a very strict process. If you haven't heard of the Allergy Travels group, and thanks, Rhonda, for your comment, that means a lot. The cards are fantastic. It's a simple product, but it's really important to bridge those language barriers to make sure that you are understood, not only just a list of allergies, but in the language of where you're going. So it's really understood and taken seriously. The Allergy Travels group I co-admin with the fabulous Ali Bon, also known as Miss Allergic Reactor. It's got 26,000 members. And if you're not a member already, I can't recommend it enough. I've only been to so many countries. If you go to this group and say, I am going to Greece, I'm going to this city, I'm looking for info, you're going to find someone that's giving you recommendations for that specific spot. It's a very wonderful place where you can get crowdsource information and amazing support. It's a Facebook group like no other. It's very supportive. There's not a lot of toxicity in there, which I really appreciate. We run a tight ship, Ali and I. Today, I'm going to do some facts on Europe. I'm going to talk about a checklist that you can easily get and download and follow for your next trip. And then we'll just have lots of time for Q&A. All right. So some of you already put in the chat where you're from. I would love to know, everybody. Feel free to put in the chat right now. Where are you from? We have some from UK, Canada, all over the world, which is great. I'm going to put a poll up too. And what do I have here? I am curious. I'm going to put a poll. Who's here? Are you a parent or a caregiver of a child with food allergies, or are you an individual with food allergies? This really helps me know who I'm talking to here. And I'm going to ask one more before I get into my presentation. Have you traveled internationally before with food allergies? Yes or no? Yes or not yet? Not yet. That's the key answer. So I guess outside of your country. All right, I'll share these results. So the vast majority have. So a lot of these things I'll be talking about today are old news. But if you have specific questions about getting to that next level, I would love to try to share and help as much as possible. Great, thank you, thank you. So a few facts on Europe before we get into Q&A, and let's talk about the labeling laws to begin with. So there are 14 priority allergens in the EU compared to the top 9 in the US, the top 10 or 11 in Canada. I forget what they've coupled in with for some of the seafood categories there, but there they are on your screen, 1 through 14. There must be an emphasis on these allergens in labeling. So it's usually a distinct font style, as in it's bold to make it stand out. Similar to the countries that it seems like everyone's from here, precautionary allergen labeling may contain made in the same facility. These are voluntary, just like the rest of the world. Hopefully they come to a consensus on making this better for all of us. But again, proceed with caution. It's on the manufacturer and their best intent to tell you the risk. With manufactured products, I will just show you, oh my goodness, this is something else. Here are some, see myself, Mamba magic sticks, some type of candy. Now, I'm not going to eat these. Some type of candy sticks I just pulled out of a drawer at my work right now. And if I flip it on the other side, here's a sample of what a European ingredient label looks like. It is a lot of words, and it's going to be really hard to see. There's no English here. Absolutely no English. You're going to see that some things are in bold. I'm trying to even find a language I can recognize here. Slovenian. Now there are none of the top 14 allergens in here, so nothing is in bold. But this is just a good example of showing that sometimes, depending on the country, you won't even find English on a label. In this region, there's Bulgarian, there's Croatian, but Slovak, Lithuanian. So it's something to be aware of. For me, it's really tough to, it's really tough to find safe foods. Sorry, are you able to see my screen? That is what I'm wondering right now. Could anybody give me a note in chat? Karina, are you able to see my screen? Yeah, okay, thank you. I just got a private message that someone wasn't able to. Hopefully it's working for everybody. Do my best. But with products, I personally, if I'm in a grocery store, I like to go around the perimeter. I just had a salad today at the grocery store that was freshly made. Meat counters, dairy, things like that. I don't feel too comfortable getting, especially things like chocolate or snacks. It's very hard. There are a few brands that do some good labeling, but it can be a bit tougher. Now, menus, great question. We're going to get into that, Austin, with restaurant. Back in 2014, Europe enacted and adopted a law for restaurants. Now, essentially, they have to inform consumers if the top 14 allergens are in the food in a restaurant. They can do this one of 2 ways. So it's not always consistent. Some will choose to put it in the menu as almost like a legend where A equals peanuts, B equals tree nuts, and you might just see A's or B's or ones or twos with a legend of what that stands for. Maybe they have little icons in the menu. So that's one option. And that's a very helpful starting point. You still need to have the conversation about your allergens and whether it's safe and cross contact. The other option is that they can provide that info to you verbally. Now, for restaurants that are making, daily specials and new soups and varieties of food, sometimes this is a big preference because they're not investing in menus. They are making things fresh and can tell you they should have documentation. But it is the law that they need to tell you. Now, you might have heard about California. They're trying to get something very similar to this going as a law in California. I wish good luck because I find in Europe, it gives you a really helpful starting point to know what's might be in your food. You still need to have that conversation. There might be some flexibility based on individual countries, but these are the overall EU laws. Now, the state of awareness overall, I often get this question, how aware are people in Europe? It depends country by country. I had a friend that just went to Finland and said, unbelievable how much they understood celiac and gluten-free and vegan, but allergies, not so much. It was much tougher when they were traveling with someone with celiac and their own allergies. So it does depend on the country, on that awareness. I would say every time I'm mentioning my allergies, it's usually taken quite seriously. And just like at home in Canada or in the US, it depends on the person. And I can tell right away that they have no idea. So it is kind of a person by person. It is, if a restaurant really takes it seriously, it's usually through their training, but there's not a systemic system of training that is mandatory that I've really heard of. A lot of people have found a lot more success in the UK with more standardized training and protocols and procedures, and looking forward to going there next weekend where I can experience that firsthand. So it really just does depend, and it's why you need to just make sure that you're staying with your tried and true strategies of being safe wherever you go, speaking up, telling them about your allergies, and if you don't feel safe, don't eat. We have a really helpful preparation checklist that I know Karina will post in a second here on our chat that will help you walk through some of the things to think about before you go on a trip to Europe or anywhere with insurance, medicine, food, communication plan. So here's just kind of a quick overview of it. But for me, it's kind of takes me back. It looks a little overwhelming, but at least the colors make it a little friendlier. But it is true in terms of there's a lot, and I think with travel with food allergy, it's not always easy, but it's doable. It is doable. And I think for me, some of the bigger trips I've gone on, there was a bit of stress leading up to it. But when I went through a checklist, when I made sure I had everything in order, my epinephrines and date, and I have a plan of where I'm going to be dining out, it made me feel very empowered that I can go anywhere in the world, knowing that if I take the right steps and I plan, I can be safe practically anywhere. So thank you. It's now in the chat. If you want to download a copy of that, you can print it as many copies as you want for all of the adventures that you have in the future. So that's my spiel. I just wanted to give a quick overview. I can show you another example of a label before we get into chat. So feel free to put your questions in, start them coming. But this is really common too, where you might see an ingredient. What is this? Some type of 0% no caffeine coffee mix. Interesting. So English, English, English. Then I get to the ingredients. Whoa, with all these languages, and even in Slovenia, it wasn't on the label, Slovenian language. So they put a sticker on top of all of the other ones. So sometimes there might be English, but a sticker's on top. This one also doesn't, oh, it does have a few allergens. And those are in bold. As you see, they put them right at the very top, which have been given a little bit of different treatment. So for that case, this is a good example. Okay, so with that being said, oh, and the other thing I wanted to mention, I've also seen stickers. Have you ever seen stickers on prepackaged goods overseas? I've seen inconsistencies with the sticker and the actual label on the product, where sometimes the may contain statement wasn't included. So to be very, very cautious. And again, with prepackaged foods, call ahead, talk to the brands, use Allergy Travels Group to find brands that might be safe for you. But otherwise, I really stick a lot to just to basic foods in Europe that are in that fresh perimeter. I will not be eating any Mamba magic sticks today, but my daughter, who somehow does not have food allergies, maybe I'll bring one home to her. So feel free to put in your questions on the chat. If you want to just unmute yourself too, that's fine. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll try to get to as many as possible. So non-medical, I wish I had that degree, but not quite. So we'll start off with a question from Rhonda. Do you find Google Translate helpful to read ingredients on prepackaged foods if English is not on the label? Yes and no. Yeah. Google Translate is fantastic. It's such a really wonderful app. If you have the version on your phone, you can actually use it to take a live picture, to look at a label, and it is going to give you a English version right on your phone. And I'll try to get it. I'll try to get it pulled up on my phone. But it is Google, and it's Google Translate. And there's a reason why I started Equal Eats. And as much as I love Google and I use it for a lot of things, the translations may not be 100%. So that is up to your own comfort level. For me, I just don't take a chance. And I need to be 100% sure that it's safe. So for me to try a new brand, it takes some time, it takes some research, and I need to do that process versus just translating an ingredient list. So I'm going to use the camera right now. What if I could show this? Hey, that's trippy. That's me. Let's see if this would do it in real time. There you go. Oh. So it's really hard for me to actually read this. Instant copy and get some of the stuff. So that's pretty neat that you can do that with Google Translate. But again, you might not get the whole story there. So it might be a good starting point for sure. All right, another question. And if you have answers, I'm not the only person that's done this, that's for sure. So if you have answers to any of these questions, feel free to reply to someone right here in the chat. Austin said, has anybody used Neffy? You know, I think this is a great one for anybody here. Has anybody used Neffy, the nasal epinephrine? I have not. In terms of taking it as a backup, it's new for us. I think it's new for everybody, Austin. I've heard for the first time at a conference 2 weeks ago in Boston, now medical professionals are not calling it epinephrine auto-injectors, just epinephrine, or epinephrine injectors. No, I think just epinephrine now, because it's not necessarily an auto-injector like a traditional EpiPen or other brands. So very interesting. But if anybody has an answer or experience with Neffy, please feel free to share, because I do not. Are there a list of brands that are really good for food allergies? We might need to grab some quick snacks at the hotel we stay at. It doesn't have breakfast that's safe for my kids. We're going to Spain, France, Montenegro, Italy, and Greece. First off, Austin, you're traveling like a champ. That's amazing. That's very exciting, and I wish I could come. In terms of cross-European brands, not knowing your general allergies, there are some. I think one great brand is called Char. It's in North America as well, mostly known for gluten-free products, but also very allergen-friendly. I know I can eat most, if not all, of their breads and crackers. So I have success with Char, but beyond that, cross-European brands, there's a lot of North American brands that have a global reach. So there might be something that you recognize from home. Just be careful that it's manufactured somewhere differently. It might have different ingredients or may contain. If anybody has some examples of some cross-Euro brands for prepackaged foods, please feel free to share. For me, one of my favorite snacks, I love Mentos. I know that's not substance or a meal, but I eat Mentos all over the world. They're everywhere. Any advice on travel to Madrid? Allergies we manage: tree nuts, sesame, lentil, and pumpkin seeds. Two are non-top 14. Usha, I have not been there in about 10 years, so I can't say specifically. But what I would say, wherever I go, Allergy Travels group is a great spot. If you search up in that group, Madrid, you're going to get a great starting point of a lot of crowdsourced info. The other tool I use as a starting point is TripAdvisor. I love TripAdvisor in terms of I will look up Madrid and restaurants. I might do a Google search of allergy friendly and do start to look. And then I'll search the reviews in TripAdvisor. I'll put a word like allergy in the search, and it will show you all of the reviews that mention allergy, whether good or bad. And that can be a good starting point. But one thing I would say with lentil and pumpkin seeds, they're non-top 14. You're right. So they're not going to get special treatment, meaning prepackaged goods, lentil and pumpkin seeds will not be in bold. So that's really important to know. You're not going to get that on a label. You have to do that extra real glancing to make sure. And at a restaurant, they are not going to show you that as part of their allergen menu legend. Orally, verbally, they're supposed to tell you the allergens that are in the food. If it's a non-aware restaurant, maybe they're super hyper focused on the top 14. If they really know their stuff, they should know all allergens in their food. They're real ingredients. So it really depends on where you go, but trust your gut. Brianna said, are the rules different in non-EU countries? I will be traveling to Norway in July. Yes and no. Brianna, I don't know off the top of my head which countries have adopted these and which ones have not. But there are countries that are non-EU that simply take these on as a general guideline that aren't legally mandated. So it's almost in good faith. But I would say if you're going to a non-EU country, I would expect that they do not, and to rather play it on the safe side. I think Norway is in EU. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe all of Scandinavia is, but please correct me if I'm wrong. But yes, they might have different regulations, so you might have to just do some extra research. Sian said, we're visiting Italy in the summer. My son is allergic to peanuts, and I have already purchased your cards, but I'm worried about using them using peanut flour. How would I recommend communicating this in Italy? And then, yeah, thank you for that response, Austin. It's tough. Now, I have not heard much about peanut flour being used. I think it's also setting yourself up for success wherever you go in Europe. And I know for me, it's ordering things off a menu that are basic. I'm really ordering basic foods that probably would not be even involved in things that I'm worried about. However, Cian, if you want, we can make you a card that specifically lists out peanut flour on the card, and make a customized card that really enhances that. So we do customized cards as well, that where you can list different allergens. We could do a peanut card that really lists a lot more than our standard peanut card, that peanut butter, peanut flour, peanut oil, and more. So that's an option too. Joanne, great question. How many EpiPens do you bring for a 2-week trip to Europe? And I'm just going chronologically here in the chat, so I'm going to get to all of these. And if you have responses, feel free to put them right underneath. That's going to help me out a lot, because I know you have great info too. How many EpiPens do I use for a 2-week trip to Europe? Oof, personally, I'm having at least 4 with me, at least 4, which would cover me for at least 1-2 reactions, maybe even 5. I have a lot with me. So it's not so much preparing for, how bad is a reaction, how many I would need. What if I had multiple reactions during a trip and I would need 2 doses for each reaction, and I'm having difficulty getting another more epinephrine in Europe because you need a prescription to get it, and I might not be able to. So, how could I fend for myself if I cannot get fresh epinephrine on my trip? That's a good way of thinking. Austin, thanks. You're bringing 6 for and 2 nephews for our 2-week trip. It's the first time though, and there's no magic number here. There's no too little. Well, maybe 0 is too little. It's important that you have enough for your comfort level. But again, just kind of thinking through those scenarios. Rhonda, your daughter's going to travels for sports. Gone to Poland, Austria, and now in Spain. Wow, that must be fun to follow from home. Hopefully, you get to join her at some point. She's tried Google Translate, and it does help to see the word for milk Excellent, excellent. And with Europe, you should. Oh, I'd have to double check this. And Karina, maybe you can actually search this up for me because I don't know off the top of my head if the Europe legislation mandates that sub ingredients or derivatives like whey or casein needs to be called in simple language like milk in Europe. If you don't mind checking that out, it's not on the top of my head. I'm not dealing with that, but I do think they need to use simple language like the law in Canada. But I'm glad that it's been helpful for your daughter. Uh, awesome. Austin's left a random tip. If you suspect exposure, brush your teeth. My kid ended up reinfecting himself because we didn't realize some of his allergen was stuck in his braces. He has a peanut allergy and had lupin bean and a protein pasta. He had a reaction that didn't stop reacting until we brushed his teeth. Wow, Austin, that's really, I would never even think of that. As someone previously who had braces and allergies, I never experienced that personally, but what a tip. And that's it. I have had a few reactions in the last few years, knock on wood. That's it for the time being. But it's just getting it out of my system, cleaning my mouth out. I had a reaction last year where a friend said, "Oh no, I forgot it has cashews," and I already swallowed it. It was already in my mouth, and I just It was the first time I knew I was having a reaction and had that confirmation. Yeah, it's a reaction, and I just went to the bathroom, got it out of my mouth, washed it out, used my epinephrine immediately, ambulance, all that. I was okay. Had a deep discussion with my friend afterwards, and that's another story. Oh, Lisa, thanks for mentioning. Just a quick plug for Xolair. A lot of promise here. My 17-year-old started it 1 year ago. It's been life-changing. She's allergic to nuts, fish, sesame, and the anxiety that comes along with managing her food allergies each and every day have been quelled as she heads up to Greece and Italy next week. Of course, she's extremely vigilant and takes her Equal Eats cards, but she feels so much more comfortable after living her whole life with severe allergies. That is wonderful. Now, maybe Karina, if you could put a link up for more information for Xolair. There's a lot of promise, and it's gone quite a different route to finding its home in the market, but it has found some proven ways to help with food allergic reactions. So hopefully we can get some more info. But I'm really happy it's giving some more peace of mind. But Lisa, I think you said it best. You still have to be vigilant. You still need to do those basic strategies. You can't just willy-nilly go to Europe and not communicate that you have a food allergy. Xolair can do so much. Is the brand Char? Can you please spell it out? Yeah, I think. Oh, thank you, Karina, for putting a link. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, to be honest. Char. So I don't know, but I do know that it can be a helpful place. In most grocery stores, at least right here where I am in Slovenia, there's a giant section of free from products. It's growing and growing. The celiac, the gluten-free section leading the charge, it seems like. A lot of vegan too, but starting to see a little bit more on some other allergens as well popping up nearby, so that's helpful. You found that in Italy, pizza dough has almond flour. This was before the regs came and we found out about it, and the restaurant was nice to tell us about, suggesting the alternatives. Now, when I've been in Italy, I have not noticed that personally. So I wouldn't say as a generalization, pizza always has almond flour, but perhaps you've experienced differently. But thank goodness for the regulations. You have that right to ask, is peanut or any derivatives of peanut or flour in this pizza? And you should take advantage of that. What about oil? Are oils that cook, are the oils that they use in the US the same? Peanut allergy kid can eat Chick-fil-A in the US because it's highly refined peanut oil, which means the protein is removed. Is it generally the same in Europe? Thank you, Karina, for getting ahead of that one. Yeah, you're going to see some different oils over here being used. Peanut oil, I would say not as common. I don't run into a lot of peanut oil. But it's hard to say if in terms of are they refining it the same way as they would in the US. I don't have that knowledge about peanut oil in general worldwide, but they are using some different oils in general here. Olive oil is just so common. Safflower, sunflower, not sesame oil. I would assume so, but always check as well. Rhonda said, my daughter did not have reactions for years. Unfortunately, had a couple reactions age 18 to 20. She found that one epi was not enough. She carries at least 4. Great point, Rhonda. For me, one just if I'm in my home country is not enough. I know my reactions can be really bad, and my last one I needed 3. I had 2, and then I asked the paramedics to give me an extra dose. So yeah, knowing your history, making sure that you plan accordingly. Oh, thank you for that information, Gautam, about EEA countries like Norway. My geography, my knowledge of EU needs to get a little bit better, I guess. They need to follow EU law, so it is applicable for them. Okay, wow, so many here. I'm just moving right down. Great questions. Really appreciate all of the interaction so far. Let's keep going. And I appreciate all of you answering and providing info to each other. This is really such a great community. Karina's listed some great information. If there is whey, for example, there will be milk listed. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. I knew this was true in many countries. I just wasn't 100% sure about Europe. So thank you, Karina. So you have like egg albumin. This should be just labeled as egg. And same with casein or whey for milk, which makes it easier for an app like Google Translate, because what I've seen when we get our translations, the more obscure the word, the harder it is to translate, the more often that Google Translate might get it wrong. The classic example, something like battered fish, where it's essentially breaded, but using a batter. Usually with Google Translate, you get some type of translation that it's been battered, it's been beaten, which is obviously weird to say. It's a beat up fish that you cannot eat. So these are the nuances that are really important that sometimes Google Translate doesn't pick up on. You need the human to actually do it. Thank you for posting more info on Xolair. If you had trouble with TSA in Europe, carrying a large bottle of liquid Benadryl in your carry-on, I can't find chewables anymore. Oh, Joanne, that's a tough one. In terms of liquid Benadryl, you have a lot of guidelines now saying a lot of allergists coming to a consensus to not have Benadryl at all, but just use epi. But you also have other views that say the exact opposite. So it's really it's up to your own plan with your own physician. For me, I just have epinephrine with me, so I don't have that experience. I do have like some antihistamines for my seasonal allergies. As long as it is labeled, you should maybe, if it's under that limit, maybe have success. Maybe you put it in your checked luggage and you have it there. It's hard now with the days of carry-on. I can tell you a weird related experience that I had last week coming back from the US. I am a hot sauce connoisseur. I love hot sauce. And I found one that was dill pickle hot sauce, one of my favorite flavors. And I just had to have it. And I knew it was too much. It was over the limit. It was over 100 milliliters to get over customs. So I literally drained out half the bottle. And then I just brought it and said, I hope they're going to let this go through. And of course it gets flagged at the screening at security. And I say, that is, 150 milliliter bottle. It is at half. You be the judge, and they let it go through no problem. So I'm enjoying my hot sauce now. So I don't know about Benadryl. Maybe you don't get the same friendly agent, but I did have some type of positive hot sauce experience. Okay. Oh, thanks, Karina. But Dr. Rubin on Benadryl, and that's it. Benadryl, that's not our main topic today, but there's a lot of info out there. And if you're looking for more about best practices and the debate about it, it's great. I would really recommend digging into it because there's a lot more info than when I was a kid. It was like epinephrine and worst case scenario. I'm an 80s baby. It was, Benadryl, walk it off. And that was it. Things have changed. And it's really important to know what the current guidelines are and make sure your physician and you are on the same page. Okay. Cian said, we're visiting Italy. Oh, no. All right. Think I'm almost caught up. Have I ever had a reaction on a trip? Sarvi, great question. How'd you bounce back? We made not so great experiences in France, and now the thought of traveling again is stressful. Yeah, Sarvi, I've had reactions overseas, and it makes me a lot more cautious. It There's something about, I think, with allergies, I go personally one step forward, and those steps are small. My comfort zone grows very slowly and small, and that's okay. I'm not a foodie. I travel for the experiences, but if I have a reaction or an issue, I go two steps back, and that's normal. I think that's really normal to feel that way. That the progress you made, you go right back past beyond it. So you start with the brands and the things that you are comfortable with, and those, that basic foundation. And whether you just go back to bringing all of your own food in a suitcase, that's okay. Travel is doable, and you might not have the same experience as someone else, but you can do it. So it's okay to get discouraged, but then maybe dissect that and think of what are the strategies that made us safe in the first place, and hopefully you can get back to that level. But I feel for you because I've been there. Heather, you're thinking of cruising around Europe. How to navigate allergies on board? I would recommend the Allergy Travels group for that one, Heather. I have never been on any type of cruise. I think I would be the guy that's over the railing most of it, so I've avoided. Um, they should be having the same standards as the EU countries in terms of if they have dining services, they should be labeling accordingly. But as with a resort, which I do have experience with, there's usually a cooking staff, a chef that you can reach out to the company ahead of time, letting them know of your allergies and trying to make strategies and plans to make sure there's food for you. Holy smokes, I do need a water break for about 2 seconds. There's a lot of talking before a weekend with the trade show with 15,000 people. Rhonda, great tips here. Airbnbs, they can be great to avoid some of the dining out. I love having my own kitchen. I really enjoy it. And that's a great strategy to get back on track if you did have a reaction, where you can just prepare your own food. And I've had so many wonderful experiences with my family where we don't go to restaurants on every trip. We just don't find it that safe or enjoyable if we're stressing. But we do have a beautiful view or a nice place, and we make nice meals that we feel safe with. And that makes it really special for us. And we play board games and do other things. I love wine. So for me, going out to a restaurant and having a glass of wine is really special. I love that. And that's all I need sometimes, just to get a food service experience. Okay. Let's talk long flights. Best food to bring that you can just add hot water to. I was thinking about getting some thermal bowls to cook ramen or easy mac for the flight dinner. Favorite allergy-free bars. Austin, I've never brought any type of ramen on a flight. I am a sandwich guy. I bring really good sandwiches, gourmet sandwiches, and I'm very excited to eat them. And I bring some candy too. I bring stuff like guilty pleasure treats, so I have no temptation to eat airline food. But yeah, maybe it's a cup of noodle where you have the cup already there and they can add hot water. I've heard of someone that brought bone broth packets, and then it's like an instant soup. Um, Favorite allergy-free bars, depending where you're from, it's hard to say. The US, there's some like 88 acres are just so good. There's nothing like an 88-acre bar to me. They're so fresh, full, great seeds. It might not be good for everyone. Made good bars, great one, Karina. Canada has some great brands. Quaker is usually okay in Canada for some of their products. So it just depends on your country. Lauren says for allergen-friendly protein bars, we use Aleo. I don't know that one, Lauren. Cool. Hopefully it's good. I would love to try. Ron says my daughter brings oatmeal. Made good products. Might just be Canadian or good bars. she'll try to bring a sub or something, right? Having that sandwich, it fills me up. I love it. Or thermos with a meal. Yeah, it's almost like camping. You have to plan ahead and make it compact and stay warm, make it somewhat non-perishable. But I do think it's really important, not just for the flight, but what if you land somewhere and things don't go according to plan and you need to have some more energy and calories for an extended period of time? So I usually have a lot of granola bars in the what if scenarios. All right. We are going to get through a few more questions here. These have been fantastic. Really, really great. So we'll do a few more minutes, but I really, really love all of the support that you're providing each other. We're thinking of cruising. Great answers to each other's questions. You really don't even need me here. These are really great answers to each other. So Austin said we're doing a European cruise this month. If you PM me on FB, I can let you know how it goes. We did a cruise over spring break and had a great trip with no reactions on Carnival. So again, the group that Ali and I run with Allergy Travels, great spot to get more info about cruises in general. Just search up cruises. Oh, Made Good bars are in Germany now too. Excellent. I haven't seen them yet in Slovenia, but let's hope they get over some more borders. Oatmeal's great. Nice one, Brianna. Usha says, do people take extra care with cleaning Airbnbs in Europe? Are they generally okay with clean sofas and cushions? Yeah, a dirty Airbnb is a dirty Airbnb. I think right when you walk in. I think now the prices have gone up and the expectations have gone up too. That it is an income source, so usually they're pretty clean. I have not had any bad experiences in a long time with Airbnb, but you can hedge with that. You can bring your own plates, your own paper plates, plastic cutlery. You can kind of keep your zone okay no matter where you are, but keep your own sponges, things like this to clean your dishes. Heather asks, what type of sandwiches can you bring? Well, I think with a lot of countries, they have restrictions on meat of what you bring over. So as long as you eat them up in the air, you're not in that awkward position at customs. Like, do you have any fruit, vegetables, or meat? So whatever meat. Like I love like chunky chicken or schnitzel if I'm in Europe, things like this. But whatever floats your boat. Gottman says, one thing I found with Google Translate is it sometimes doesn't distinguish between different types of nuts properly. Yeah, oh, this is one of the toughest things with nuts, and we deal with this all the time. There's for most of these languages, there's no exact translation for tree nut. As much as we get it in North America and the UK, tree nuts are tree nuts, and it is a category of nuts. In many languages, it is a category that not only includes nuts, this translation, but usually dried fruits. And maybe it looks like dried fruits, like fruta seca, but it is encompassing more. And usually a word like nuez, which kind of seems like nuts, is the direct translation for walnuts. This makes it tough. So for a lot of our cards, we recommend list out the individual nuts. So it's very clear you cannot eat pecans and walnuts and pistachios and whatnot. So this is one thing to be very careful about if you have a tree nut allergy, is that you want to be specific. Sometimes you need to explain further. It's not, do you understand what nuts are? It's not just one nut or two, it's all nuts. Okay, we're getting to the end here. This is amazing, really great support. So I'll try to wrap up in a few minutes and I'll have just a couple final slides. I think you can bring any kind of sandwich. Yeah, right. Can't be a meat product. It's page on the website. Whew. That's the end of the questions. I noticed on some menus in Europe that it says nuts, almond, walnut, pecan, and there is no allergen label for cashew, pistachio. Does tree nuts in Europe cover all tree nuts? It should. It should. Usually with the exception of pine nut. Pine nut is not always classified as a tree nut. So that is one to consider, to make sure that you spell out all of the tree nuts or nuts that are specific to you or your child's allergens. But it should be a blanket covering. I think in terms of, I'd have to pull that up in terms of the what tree nuts. I actually sent it to somebody today, so I have the link very, very near to me. But it's your last call for questions, last call, and then we'll start wrapping up. I got to pick up my daughter today, so I've got limited time now before I got to be in dad mode. Okay, tree nuts. Let's see, because I'd rather just get you the answer right now while it's at my fingertips. Mustard. Okay. Okay. Tree nuts. So it should be almond, Brazil nuts, cashews, hazelnuts, pecan nuts, macadamia, pistachios, and walnuts. So I'm not sure. I'd have to look more on this in terms of an actual detailed list, but being careful spelling out which nuts you're actually allergic to. You can never go wrong. Cool. Karina, you pack wraps, long life wraps, which last the duration of the trip and are flat to pack. Yeah. I assume that means wraps that will last a long time. Yeah. And after a while, it kind of gets soggy anyway. So having a variety of things. I think like tortilla long life wraps. I think so. Yeah. Maybe you have the ingredients separate and then you can kind of package it, wrap it up later. Wonderful. All right. Well, for the sake of my daughter and picking her up on time today, I'm going to wrap this up. A couple closing notes. Thank you so much for being so wonderful. I really appreciate just the community of this. I'm only one person. I only have so many tips, and I'm not a doctor, so take it for what it is. But it is nice just to get so much info from you and share whatever I can. But I do want to just share a couple polls. One being we're still testing this out. We've done it monthly for, I think this is month 3 now. Karina, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this helpful? Should this be a monthly thing? Do you think other people would benefit from this? It's pretty casual. It is month 3. Thanks, Usha. Great. Well, for me, I'm co-admin with Ali at the Allergy Travels group, and I think this is just a great conversation to have this out here where we can kind of interact and hash through a lot of our questions, concerns, and just get more support. So 100% said yes. Oh, that's so great. Thank you. Let's take a screenshot. That's great. And if you have feedback how we can make it better, I would love to hear. So you can email me directly, kyle@equaleads.com. I would love to absolutely get any feedback, make it better. We did record, so you can find out, you can watch after the fact. A couple last things, travel, allergies, as we know, it's not always easy, but it is doable. Go at your own pace. Sometimes things happen and it's okay to go 2 steps back, but then try to make that step forward again. Do that planning and then enjoy. Can't recommend Ali enough and her food allergy coaching. We covered some general things today. If you want somebody to really help you, to have consulting and help you get to that next level, whether it's with any type of blocks you're having or planning or different countries, she's fantastic. And she's got a service of consulting. She's got some videos, coaching, training videos, dining out, and that's all at missallergicreactor.com. Cataline is a pro celiac in Italy and now celiac in Europe is her new brand. So if you have celiac disease questions, she's great. And then there's some specific travel agents as well. I've never used these services, but I do hear good things. So the Allergy Travels group as well is fantastic. And I really recommend everybody being on there. Allergy translation cards. Our website is equaleats.com, where you can order cards in 52 languages. There's Google Translate. And then, if you're looking for ideas to where you should, ideas of safe places, perhaps from our community, TripAdvisor, as I mentioned before, obviously Allergy Travels group. Spoken is an app that a lot of people enjoy and find some helpful info there. And Find Me Gluten Free is another one. So I got your evaluation, and that's it. I really appreciate it. We haven't set a time for next month. If we do it again, you signed up for this, we'll send you an email. But I just want to send an appreciation of your time. Thanks for coming. Thanks for your participation today. Really, really great vibe. Thank you, Karina, for all of your help on the chat to send, I don't know, looks like 50 different links today and some very specific info. Thank you so much. And wishing everybody a great rest of the day. And I wish you safe travels and excellent planning for wherever your next allergy safe trip takes you. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye. Thanks so much. Yeah, I will share the recording afterwards. Absolutely.